In other news, the government has been called upon to seal the existing gaps in the education sector to promote equity and access to education. Education working groups under the banner East Africa Philanthropy Network say that most policies promote equality rather than equity, which has inconvenienced many learners, especially from underprivileged backgrounds and marginalized communities.
Flat rate capitation, education scholarships, new funding model for higher education, gender education for learners living with disabilities, and categorization of secondary schools are some of the gaps that have been identified as promoters of equality rather than equity in education.
Schools that are poor will continue to be poorer under this model. Children that are left behind will continue to fall further behind because the others are moving faster. So when you look at the pace of moving forward, the ones who are at the back are moving slower than the ones at the front, and which means equity gaps continue to widen from this financing model. This classification of national, extra-county, and all that up to sub-county has actually been a systemic driver of inequity.
According to East Africa Philanthropy Network Chief Executive Officer Evans Okinyi, education will be an equalizer if the existing gaps are sealed through a multi-agency approach that is involving the government, private sector and civil society.
That can only happen if we come into a room like this as peers, whether it's from the government, the agenda is one. Whether it's from the private sector, the agenda is one. Whether it's from the non-governmental organizations, the agenda is one. And that agenda is to provide and ensure that the country really provides basic quality education to our children so that we can sustain the future generation.
They further added that learning should incorporate innovation in a bid to ensure that learners meet the job market requirements in the evolving world.
And the realm of education is continuously changing and changing. You can see now we are at the KBC, presenting both challenges and opportunities.
Parsai Frederick, Lunchtime News.